singing, what career path do you think you would have chosen?
Yeah, some in me probably says I'd probably be teaching or coaching.
Welcome to the first episode of Conversations with Tavares. I am Tavares, and I am here with my first guest, Mr. Jack Freeman, R&B artist. What's going on? How you doing today, son?
I'm good, man. Having a good day.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right into the conversation. So just introduce yourself to the people and tell them exactly who you are and what you do.
My name is Jack Freeman. From Houston, Texas. I'm a singer, songwriter, and I guess co-producer of my own music and stuff like that. Performer, all around good guy, man. Just here and trying to, move this whole music scene forward, man, for myself. So, it's just it, man.
Okay, so when did you get your start?
I started 2009. 2009. Coming back to Houston, I was on a football scholarship at UTEP, and I left, came down in 2009, came back home in 2009. I started going to Prairie View and all that stuff, and I just decided, I think I can write a song or two, so I started writing, and that's kind of been history since then. So we're 13 years in.
Okay, sounds good. So tell us about the experience of creating your first project.
It was a learning experience for sure, because I was fresh into music and I didn't really know what the studio was like. Well, I didn't know how it worked in the studio, and then I realized that like music, you have to when you're recording, you have to kind of build your own environment in the studio, things you like, and do it the way you kind of want to do it. So once I started learning as many of the rules, I learned how to break the rules with just doing what I wanted to do. So it was definitely a learning experience. I also learned that like when you put out your first project, you can't really be worried about what it how good you think it's gonna be or how good you think everyone else thinks it's gonna be. Because your first project, if you're gonna do this the right way, your first project is never gonna be better than your third. Because you just grow and you become a different person, and you evolve and you learn more of the process, and you wanna add different things to it. So the first thing to do is just get it out there. It's like anything else, you know what I'm saying? You cut the first head, if you're a barber, you cut your first head. It's not gonna be the tightest fade of all time, but like, if you've been doing it for 20 years, you know how to do a fade at this point. So, so that's what I learned.
Okay, so you were speaking of growth. Now, from your first project to your latest project, Define Love, what was the inspiration behind that project?
So, actually, the latest project would have been Blood. That was my EP that I put out at the end of 2020, and I had Leather. But the last big album I did was Define Love. But how have I grown? I've grown, man. I just became a better writer. And 2009, I was 21 years old, and so I had only been an adult 2 years. So it's just living life, and also understanding that there's different ways to write a song. Living 13 more years of life gave me more things to write about. Understanding what my sound is, because my first project I wasn't really sure what the sound was. I was making music. But now I know where I'm comfortable, and I know where I can push myself to go a little bit over the edge, of my comfort zone and all that kind of stuff. So it's just been a lot, man. It's really just life. It's everything I'm saying translates to life in a lot of ways. It's about understanding that what you knew at 20 is not what you know so much more now at 33. I'm 33 years old, so it's just when you do that, you dress differently. You you treat people differently. Your relationships are a lot different. Hopefully they're better. You know what I'm saying? And you deal with conflict a lot differently. So I would hope that you would approach your music a little bit differently, or any type of art that you make. So yeah, it's just been that kind of growth, just living life, man, and just trying to be better at the craft.
Okay, sounds good. So now when you talk about your projects and your growth along the way, when you first released a project, talk about the first time you heard your song on the radio. What did that feel like?
First time I heard my song on the radio. It's weird because I think the first time I heard a song of mine on the radio, it was probably on 90.1, but I was in the studio doing the interview. So that was a little different. But then I think the next time I heard it was on one of OG Ron C's Chopper Screw mixes on 93.7. I want to say there. But I think the first real time that a single of mine at regular speed was on an FM station in rotation was 102, and it was, I don't know, it's different for me. Like, it's different for me when I think about that kind of stuff because I don't really listen to the radio much. So when 102 picked up the song, when they picked up Nobody and they put it in rotation, it was a cool experience. It was dope. I also had that song out for 6 years. Okay. So I had played it in just about every place that I could play it. I had sang it in just about every place I could sing. I think the coolest thing was, the cooler thing was my first time hearing it in a TV show.
Okay.
And so that was like, man, and that was probably a year before they put it in rotation. So that was an experience because, when it's in a show and it's directed by a person that you've looked up to for a long time, it was in Spike Lee, She's Gotta Have It. Okay. And so, like, that person giving it that validation was a little bit different for me than hearing it on the radio, because I'd heard it in streaming, I'd heard it on playlists before and all that kind of stuff. And it just didn't really, by the time I hear radio, it just was kind of like, oh, that's cool. And so it was just the people telling me that they keep hearing me on the radio all the time. And, that was a cool thing to experience a little bit.
Okay. So now, when it comes to performing, you've been able to open up for some, very notable artists, including one who's on his way to Houston soon, the one and only Anthony Hamilton, which you kind of remind me of a little bit. Have you heard that comparison before?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like working with, or opening up for Anthony? Or any of the artists that you've opened up for?
That one was really like a very last minute experience. It was like a day before and they were hitting me about doing it. And I went up there and I did like maybe 7 minutes. It was a cool experience. I didn't really get to interact with the guys, Anthony, or I think at the time he had to have one song with him. I saw the show. I just didn't really get to interact with him too much. But opening for artists is a little bit different because you have to kind of understand that the people there are not really there to see you. So you kind of have to know your place in a certain aspect, whereas you respecting the time that you're on stage. So if they say you're on for 15 minutes, you just gotta be on for 15 minutes, and that's cool. That's it. You can't go in there for 30 and think that you just run shit.
Right.
But you also still have to take that time and make people remember and understand who you are.
Right.
Because if there's, like the Anthony shows, 2,500, 3,000 people in there, most of those people are, out of that 3,000 people, 2,800 of them might not even know who you are. Right. 2,900 of them probably didn't know who I was. 2,950 of them probably didn't know who I was. You know what I mean? So I'm there, and I'm also trying to, in that 7 minutes, grab one or two fans to come with me.
Right.
That way it's like, okay, I like Anthony, And because I think Leela James was on that show too. I came to see Leela, I came to see Anthony, but that guy that did the little 7 minutes, he was cool. I like him.
Yeah.
You know, but then when you give me more time, like when they gave me, I think I did like 40 minutes at opening for Life Jennings. That's a more of a, with the band, I'm able to like really settle into my show and get people to enjoy it and understand. So whenever I do an opening, it's just like, I want to make sure that the people that came to see the headliner are also enjoying me.
Right.
Because, you know, it's just like everything else. You go to a party and they got food. You want the food to be good. You want the drinks to be good. You want the people to be cool. Because you came for the birthday bride, birthday girl, right? But you want every other experience to be great too, right? So, you know, I'm just trying to add to it and be the best I could possibly be, and then maybe I get booked again.
Okay. So, out of your performances, are there any performances that stand out to you, like as far as being the most memorable for you up to this point?
I would say my album release show at House of Blues was dope. That was probably the most memorable, I believe. I think the Life Jennings show was fun, a lot of fun. We did the main room with Life, and then we did the foundation room afterwards. I think we performed like another 2 hours after that in the foundation room, and that was a dope experience. Just because I'm with the band and I just have so much fun playing with the band, and you know, we're all pretty close, so we just like jamming together. Another one would probably be one of the shows I did in Moscow. It was just a crazy experience, just going to a completely different side of the world and having a room full of people that all know your music and all that kind of stuff. That was my first time abroad doing my own thing, so that was certainly memorable, man. That was an experience right there. So there's a few of them.
Okay. So now we know that with you being an artist and by me working with artists, for myself, we know that it's not easy to reach those goals that you have, you know, for yourself. When it comes to, you know, speaking to somebody out there that may be watching this, who's going down that path, there are going to be highs and lows, you know, in advancing your career. Talk to the audience about some of the struggles you've had to endure in, you know, being an artist, and how do you keep yourself motivated to keep moving?
Man, how much time we got? I think business-wise, when it comes to the art, everybody screams independence a lot. And independence is great, but if you don't have the funding to really get your independent thing to another level, where you don't have the people around you that may not necessarily be looking for all the money, but can also get you where you need to go to get you on the ears and on the eyes of people, then it's going to be infinitely harder. Because you own everything, but you do all of the work. You know, and that's anything. I don't care if you're opening a coffee shop. If it's a coffee shop and it's with your dime, and you can't necessarily afford to pay other employees, guess who's gonna be making coffee 12 hours a day? It's gonna be you. So when you make the music, if you're an artist that's like, that's what you innately do, creating the music is never going to be a problem. Right. Even if you got writer's block for a couple of weeks or months or whatever, you can come back and make more music. The hard part is then putting it out and then making people understand or making people aware of what it is that you're making. You know what I'm saying? So that's the hard part. Now, the other thing about it is you have to, and I'm learning this now, you have to learn how to protect your own personal energy and your own personal space. Because if you're doing what it is that you wanted to do, that means that your music is reaching people that you don't necessarily know. They don't even know you exist. You don't know they exist, right? Where that comes in is when you make music that touches people in a certain type of way. There are gonna be people coming at you all the time that you don't need to know, and they're telling you what your music did for them, or they're telling you about the time that something happened in their life and your music pushed them, and that's draining. It's like you're a therapist and you don't even know you're a therapist. It's very draining, and when you're dealing with it, you have to then go back to your everyday life, your home life, and deal with the relationship that you might be in, or the family situation that you might have, and your friends and all of that kind of stuff. And when people are pulling you on your personal side and people are pulling you on your other side, you have to learn how to recharge yourself in any type of way possible, whatever that is for you. And I say that because once you put the art out, as personal as it is to you, once you put the art out, it's not even yours anymore.
Right, it becomes
everybody else's thing. Yeah. So I might have written that song about the woman I was with at that moment and how I felt about that woman at that moment, whether it was a happy place or a hard place or a breakup or whatever it is. Somebody else out there understands and knows it because they went through something similar, or they went through almost the exact same thing.
Right.
If you're writing about that time that maybe your mental health was so low that you didn't want to continue, right? Somebody else is talking about how, I can't imagine what Mary J. Blige was doing.
Right. Right.
Because there's so many people that's like, man, I almost took my life. And then I listened to your song, Married, and it just that's draining, bro. That's draining because when you at home dealing with your own struggle, you have to be able to it's like, man, you start to realize how much you mean to other people, and then you got to also be this to the people that you know, and then you got to also figure out how to be it for yourself.
Right.
So just know that that's the biggest hurdle. Making music is not hard if you make music. Painting a picture, if you're a painter, it's not hard. You paint. That's what you do. Managing an artist, it's not hard for you. It's the draining part of it. Your energy, trying to keep your energy correct so that you don't fall into these situations where your career isn't where it needs to be, or it plateaus, or you hit a dip because of COVID like everybody has, and now you're starting to stew in your own personal issues and trying to, it's a lot. So yeah, figure that out. Try to protect your peace and protect your own energy and stuff like that, because you can't give on an empty tank.
And so how do you find balance and juggling all of that?
It's hard. It's, you definitely have to look within yourself a lot of times, because another thing I learned is that there are people out here that are engaged in a craft, whatever that craft is. But there are other people that are engaged in this craft that are really actually trying to be great, or trying to be the greatest. And when you're great, or when you want to be great, or when you want to be better, it's a very lonely feeling, because your general circle aren't all people that make music, and not all people that even understand what it's like to be in the studio until the sun comes up, and then or any of the, they might be teachers and lawyers and they got their own things going on. So if they can't relate, it's hard to really talk to them about it. Talk to everybody about it. You have to know who you can talk to, or if you can talk to anybody. And give them an idea of what it's like, because otherwise it just looks like you're complaining.
Yeah.
Because they think that everything you're doing is fun. Yeah. And it's just partying all the time. But this shit is hard.
Right.
And it's hard every day, especially when you're full-time and you don't do anything else. This is hard. So the balance just has to be, you got to figure out the things that make you who you are outside of music. If you're a ball player, what do I do outside of playing ball? What do I do, and what are these things? I don't care. Sometimes you just want to sit there and play video games on it, if that's what you do.
Right.
Or sometimes you just, you want to get into another craft. Maybe like drawing, just whatever to keep that balance. working out, you try to keep that balance and find your therapy. And also, having a therapist probably helps too, to kind of get your balance so that you can hear yourself talk every now and then.
Right.
So they're like, damn, that sounds crazy. Yeah. But I need to get it out. You know what I'm saying? So it is hard to find the balance, but as you learn who you are, you realize what does balance. And sometimes it's your family, sometimes it's your friends, and things like that. So,
So, all right. So speaking of conversation of careers, if you were not singing, what career path do you think you would have chosen?
Yeah, some in me probably says I'd probably be teaching, or coaching. I do enjoy talking to young people and like trying to just picking their brains, seeing how they think, and trying to figure out a shift in the way they think. And that would actually probably be one of those things. There was a time where I figured my goal was going to be NFL, so I might have still been playing ball. But there's a couple of things, but there's some stuff that I look at, I'm like, I would never do that.
So now, speaking of your work, you have several bodies of work. Now, when it comes to your body of work, what are you most proud of?
As in, like, which body of work I'm most proud of, or what?
Just in general, like as far as creating what you've created up to this point.
I'm proud of the fact that I can tangibly see where I got better in every project. Like, I got to, at first I was young and I didn't really know what I was doing. And I was still learning so much, and I'm always still learning. I was like, it'd have been like putting me in NASA when I first, and telling me to work as a rocket scientist. Like, so much that I needed to know. It was so much I needed to know. But now, I've gotten to a point where I'm saying, man, I'm pretty damn good at this. And it don't always sound like everybody else's, but it feels better every time I put something out. It feels like something I can listen to all the time. I couldn't always listen to myself, and I still really don't listen to myself that much. But now I'm seeing, like, man, I'm really, really, really good at this, and I keep getting better. And I have to keep reminding myself of that, because sometimes I feel like, man, these people that way better than me sometimes. But I know I'm really good at this. So that's what I'm most proud of. It's just getting better at it and changing my palette a little bit to make this feel different from the last thing. So.
Okay, so now since you started the fan base that you've built up, talk to your fans about, or talk to us about the, what your fans mean to you and the support that they offer in terms of your career.
As an artist, your fan base is pretty much what makes or breaks you, right? I think we see that a lot of different artists in the way and the type of fans that they have and things like that. It means a lot because we can't get out here and do these shows if you're not there. We can't get out here and provide for ourselves and for our families without those people. The thing I would say is that if you're a fan of somebody, it is infinitely important that you share the music and you tell people about your favorite artists, because none of the artists that you think are slept on or underrated really want to be underrated or slept on. Because when you slept on, that means you're not making money. When you slept on, that means ain't nobody really hear the music that you know, hear. Or they're not getting opportunities they want to get. So I would say, like, as the fan, it's important to tell people about the music that you hear. Tell people about the art that you experiencing, and because one, it helps the artist get a better opportunity, but it also helps the person next to you that you just shared that music with. There's something in there that might help them, or that might touch them in a certain type of way. And that's how this is. Music is about people. Music's not about anything else but people. You're writing about people. No matter what it can be the most gangster shit in rotation. It's about people. It don't matter if you killed them in that song,
right,
or you love them in that song.
Right.
It's about people and about the way the experience. And when you go to concerts, it's about the experience, and it's about the people around you that are all there. You might not know that person from a can of paint. Right. That person lives a completely different walk of life from you. But you're here to watch a Jack Freeman show. And that's the common thread that brings y'all together. If y'all have nothing else in common, y'all at least know y'all like Jack Freeman. Right. So it's lovely, man. The fans just all over the place. It's crazy. Like I'm going back to being in Moscow or just over in Eastern Europe at all. Like it's just like I'm used to performing in front of crowds that are mostly black people. They all look like me. I go over there and none of those people look like me, but they all have one thing in common that you got in common,
right?
Which is y'all like Jack Freeman's music,
right?
And so for me, it's like it's amazing because it'll put you in places that you never thought you'd be, and it's a lot to process when you're on stage and it's all happening. So I appreciate the fans, and I appreciate the future fans, and all the people that's ever shared my music, all the people that's ever played it anywhere, all the people that's even just had anything cool to say about it, man. I really appreciate y'all, because I wouldn't really be doing this if it wasn't for the fact that people actually like this.
So that takes me to the next question. So for Jack Freeman, where do you see yourself in your career 5 years from now?
Yeah, bigger venues, bigger shows, bigger opportunity, bigger life, just a bigger energy, man. Just much bigger and much more abundant, and hopefully able to bring other people along that are also trying to do what I do. Just bigger everything. That's what I want.
Okay, that sounds good to me. So let's see. Now, I mentioned earlier your project called Define Love. In your words, how do you define love and what you were speaking about in that particular project?
Well, that's funny, because the reason why I called it that is because I don't think anybody can define it. So, like I said earlier, it's like you got so many different people in different walks of life. So love for you is a lot different for somebody else. Love for one group of people might be, being married for 75 years, not together, never had any other thing outside of that. I have a bunch of kids, continue your legacy, whatever it is. And other people it might be, some type of an unconventional union of sorts. Maybe you don't get married in front of a preacher. Maybe you get married out in the field somewhere, living a different lifestyle. For some people, it's same sex. For some people, it's the love you have for your siblings or your mother and father and all of that stuff. So I can't really put a tangible measure on it. I wrote it about mostly about a relationship that I was in, that I had a lot of things to say about. So the beauty of it is, love is what you make it, and nobody ever has to tell you what it what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
People gonna tell you all day, nah, you're supposed to get married and then have a kid and then go do this and do that, and because people want you to do it the way they've done it or the way society thinks that the norm is.
Right.
Not knowing that our society, even American society, Western civilization, we have our idea of what it is, and then there's people in different countries and villages and stuff like that that have a completely different idea of what love looks like.
Right.
And it ain't always so cut and dry.
Right.
So I just wanted to touch people in that, because what I understand about writing is that new things happen every day. Social media, TikTok, new phones, new technology, new cars, all that stuff. There's always advances in civilization, but there's never a change in human emotion. So if the idea of courting a woman way back in the day was giving her this rock,
Right.
you know what I mean? And trying to court her in that way.
Yeah.
And the heartbreak that comes with losing the person you loved, even in the 1400s or 1000 BC or whatever,
Right.
that's still there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't switch now. Everybody's dealing with love the same way that everybody has always dealt with it. They've dealt with love the same way, they've dealt with anger the same way, they've dealt with any type of pain, physical pain or emotional pain, done it all the same way for years. It's never changed. So love is something that it's never, as long as humans are around, people are always gonna have love in some type of way. Love for their friends, love for their family, love for their significant other, love for their children, all that kind of stuff. So that's what it is to me. It's just an intangible thing. I look out in the crowd and I see love all the time. So that's what I try to bring, man, and try to cultivate a little bit more of. And also at that moment in time, like talk about that time that love didn't feel so great.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because once you do it, once you fall out of love, or once that love fails, you can always create it again.
Right.
It's infinite. So that's what it really was for me.
Okay. All right. So now, is there any new music on the way, and what can we expect?
Definitely new music on the way. I've been working for about a year on some new records, and working with new producers, and also some of the same producers I've had before. There are I got a nice little folder full of good old jams. So hopefully some soon, have a discussion with management and all of those people, and figure out the plan. These last 2 years have been kind of weird because of COVID. Trying to just figure out the new norm in the music industry and just figure out how not to make all of the wrong steps.
Right.
So, but the music is definitely coming. Hopefully a lot sooner than later.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any final words for anybody that may just be discovering you for the first time, or speaking to the people that already support you?
Hey man, if you support me, love y'all. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you new, if you feel like you're a little late, it's okay. We here. The music is still there. You're not gonna hurt nobody if you're just getting on the music. So thank y'all so much, man. Hopefully y'all find something in there that y'all enjoy. And like I said, man, spread it. Tell people, tell your friends about me, man. Come to the shows and come holler at me. And and I definitely want to thank you for even having me. So to kind of get this message out there. So thank you.
All right, now tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me mostly on Instagram. I am Jack Freeman. I don't be on Facebook, but y'all can follow the Facebook, Jack Freeman Music on Facebook. All of the streaming platforms, just look up Jack Freeman. I'm there. If you're a hip hop fan, Lil Kiki's album just came out. on Kiki's album. Got a couple of other albums I'm doing features on that's coming out pretty soon. So, just check me out, dude. We're around. I got shows hopefully coming up soon. So, follow me there. You'll get all the information on. I am Jack Freeman on Instagram. Excellent.
All right, so I want to thank my guest, Jack Freeman, today. I appreciate you joining me for my first episode of Conversations with Tavares. Look forward to, what you got coming up, and we'll continue to support you. And if there's anything you need from me, just let me know.
Sure.
And for the audience tuning in today, I appreciate you. If you like the interview, please make sure you subscribe to TavGo TV on YouTube. Like and comment, tell your friends about it, and we'll see you on the next episode.